from the block to the boardroom.
Hey.
I can be in any space and be all right. Black and brown communities need to have economic centers. They need to have business districts. If we are out of the economic picture through erasure, through discrimination or whatever, then we are not doing what we need to do to set up the next generations.
Right.
We've got to be seen as more than just good people in the room.
Absolutely.
There's got to be some economic power behind us. We're not going to just build with all black folks.
Right.
That's a beautiful thing, but the reality is, in order to do more, you have to broaden your networks. We have to be able to live beyond check to check, to live beyond this net zero median income that's supposed to happen with black households in the next few years. Like, that's crazy. Think about how hard we work. What assets do we have to show for it? And I'm talking about myself too, because I just did my taxes.
Yeah.
I just filled out my kids' FAFSAs.
Yeah.
Whoa. There's still work to do. We have to be able to play not just in health, not just in education, because we'll go and get some education, right? We have to be able to play in the financial centers so that our communities and our generations can have a leg stronger to stand on than what we were given.
So when are you going to run for mayor?
I'm not. Did you not just hear I was on the block?
I know. From the block to the boardroom to mayor, you know what I mean?
Fully connected.
Hey, real quick, guys, before we get started with the episode, I just want to say thank you for clicking on this video. I realize the majority of people who watch this podcast haven't yet subscribed to the podcast. So take that time right now to hit that subscribe button and to smash that like button. I really appreciate the support. Now let's get back to the episode. Yeah. Welcome back to the Fully Connected podcast, your go-to destination for inspirational conversations to help you become your greatest version. I am your host, Chris Jones, clinical therapist and owner of Fully Connected Counseling. Today we got a very special guest. Okay, she is one of the top black female entrepreneurs in the city, maybe even in the state. I don't even know. She's doing her thing. I really, am inspired by her, honestly. And she is the owner of the CML Collective, right? She is the CEO of the Create campaign, which is a nonprofit organization to help minority entrepreneurs to be able to launch and start their business. So she's doing a whole lot, guys. We're going to go ahead and get into it. We're going to really get behind the scenes to figure out who Christina is, CEO Christina, and also just personal Christina.
That'll work.
As well. So Christina, welcome to the podcast. Nice to meet you finally in person.
Right. Thank you so much for extending the invitation. I really appreciate it.
Definitely. So, I've been, really curious to kind of figure out what inspired you to start the CML Collective and the Create campaign.
Sure.
Yeah.
So inspiration comes to me in a variety of ways, but I'm always about community uplift. So when it came to CML Collective, this was kind of as I was in my professional careers. I had just got done with a stint in journalism and then also working with the school district, and I really wanted to get back to writing. So I was like, what is one way that we can provide professional communication support to communities of color? And CML Collective was born. That was in 2013.
CML, yeah. And that was formerly known as, was it Miss Lady, right? Miss
Lady,
yeah. Those are the t-shirts, right?
Yeah, I started as a t-shirt company because that was a platform at that time in my 20s. I could afford to kind of get going and get the design work going. And people saw the t-shirt designs and they were like, this is cool. Man. Could you design a logo? Could you design a flyer? And so before our second anniversary, we had changed our company name to CML Collective and became a full-scale graphic design and communication services agency.
Definitely. So you guys do graphic design. So you know how to work Photoshop.
Yeah.
Okay.
All of that.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
So I can work InDesign, Photoshop, Illustrator, all of those.
Wow. So that's a business of its own right there.
Yes, it is.
Wow. So you'll create the logo. So you still do this today?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I still do CML Collective. We do consulting, graphic design, DEI consulting as well. It's evolved as well.
Definitely. How do you find the balance, through everything? Because you have that you started back in 2013. Then you have the Create campaign, which is literally 2 years after that?
Yeah, so the
Wow.
Create campaign came on board 2015, and
Wow.
it's been evolving and growing into its own entity as well.
So there was a number. I remember you said 3% of in Kansas. There's 3% of Black entrepreneurs, or not Black entrepreneurs, but Black-owned businesses.
At one time, we're inching a little bit better, so 4%.
But it's hey, we're getting there.
We're inching closely, but it's still an underrepresented demographic as it relates
Absolutely.
to business ownership, because Black Americans in the state of Kansas account for about 6 to 12%. It depends on what studies you're looking at and
Right.
which census report you're going to take as gospel. But regardless, there is definitely a gap.
There's a gap. There's definitely a gap, and you're here to fill that gap, Christina. You're the bridge.
Hey, we want to,
You know, the liaison. You know, do you feel like what is that exactly is your mission? You know.
Yeah. So my mission is all about, as I mentioned before,
Right,
community uplift. But as it relates specifically to the Create campaign, what we're really wanting to do is make sure that we are a bridge to services,
Right.
so that diverse entrepreneurs can not just launch, but launch, scale, and grow with success. We want to see legacy businesses. We want to create economic pathways where diverse entrepreneurs can enter to exit. We want to
Right.
be able to create pathways that people can expand their household income and really provide that next level of economic opportunity for their households and their children. And the experience historically in this country has not set up diverse entrepreneurs to experience the same kinds of economic opportunities. And so we are a bridge to help get that done.
Why do you think that is?
Oh, goodness. Let's talk about systemic racism.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
talk about discrimination. When we look at how this country is built as it relates to the economics of it, you have to have assets. Houses are assets. If you go back and look at how Black Americans and diverse Americans were able to get into home ownership, the pathway has not been very linear. When we look at bills such as the GI Bill for those active Americans who served in the armed forces, that was supposed to be a way through the GI loans and things of that nature to get assets like homes. However, discriminatory practices prevented diverse Americans in armed services to be able to walk the pathway of home ownership.
Wow.
When we finally got access to home ownership, now we're dealing with redlining, where
Man.
again, neighborhoods
Man.
would be cast as no good. And we could not buy in neighborhoods that had homes of economic significance. So when we talk about the delay and the disruption
Right.
to our economic practice, that's just in one lens on our assets. We're not talking about what happens in the classrooms. We're not talking about banks
Yeah.
and financial institutions not lending to us at the same comparable rates as white Americans. So in order to understand why
Yeah.
our economic situation in entrepreneurship looks the way that it does, you have to look at history.
Man, I just love the way you speak and articulate yourself and your points. Do you feel like redlining still exists?
Absolutely, it still exists. Absolutely, it still exists. And when you look at
Man.
the ongoing stronghold of the impact of redlining decades ago, okay,
Right.
our neighborhoods and the asset value inside of diverse neighborhoods, again, it doesn't look the same. So these are decisions and practices that might have happened decades ago, still is happening in many instances as well, but it still has a stronghold on our ability to be able to advance economically.
Definitely. So how do we go around that? And are we still able to get loans now? Like, do you find any difficulties when you're helping out these entrepreneurs to be able to get funding?
Yeah, so in order to be a good bridge, you have to understand the sources. And so we have great relationships with financial institutions, and many of them want to and are trying to create pathways that do better as it relates to lending. But banks and financial institutions, they're historically risk averse.
Right.
So what this means is banks want to be able to give to a sure bet. All right.
Absolutely.
And if you show up on paper without a strong credit score, a weak credit profile, if you have garnishments, liens, collections, and things of that nature, then that makes you more risky of a borrower. And banks do not want to lend to risky borrowers, nor do they want to lend to risky ideas. So how we show up on paper financially, how we work with banks that are looking at expanding and broadening credit criteria and using those programs and showing successive repayments so those programs can still exist. Those are some of the things that we do.
What would you tell like a young entrepreneur who may be watching right now who wants to get a loan from a bank? Like, what do they need to do?
First of all, You need to be able to have a business that is not a hobby. Which means
now Christina,
you have to be able to show sales.
Let's say that again one time. You have to have. You can't be a hobbyist. This has to be something that you're really serious about. That's so important. Let's talk more about that.
Being serious and having a passion is all great, but if there's not a customer or a client to purchase your product or service, then you don't have a business. And I think that people really need to understand that if you want to be a business owner, having clients that can help create and generate revenue inside of your business can showcase and show up in sales.
Absolutely.
That's really important. And so, first of all, you have to have an idea for a business and demonstrated sales in that business.
Right.
Additionally, you have to take care of your personal finances. I hear many times from entrepreneurs, and we don't shade or shame. This is a learning experience for folks. So we have to break it down that, yes, how you handle money personally is an indicator of how your business is going to handle money as well. So banks do look at that. You need to have, in order to even be in the game, a credit score between 640 to 680. That's just the entry point for what financial institutions will look at. I already mentioned if you have collections activity, put them on a payment plan at least. I mean, many folks have debt, right? But how are you responsibly managing that debt? Is it on a payment plan?
Yeah.
Have you paid your taxes? And can you demonstrate paying your taxes? All of that creates that credit profile that when the bank is asking you to demonstrate your ability to repay, you have to be able to step into it. And you can't just speak about it. You have to show it.
Right. And so this doesn't have anything to do with race. It's just about, are you able to be disciplined, and can you prove to us, the bank, that we're giving you this money? Can you pay it back? It's not anything personal. It's business.
It's business.
How does that work? When it comes to like personal, some people may take things personal, but you're just like, hey, this is business. This is how we roll. Like, how do you balance that, and what's a good way to assert yourself on it?
Yeah, for when Create Campaign works with others, and I want to take just a moment to talk about what Create Campaign does.
Yeah, let's please talk about that. Yeah.
So Create Campaign is a minority business development nonprofit. We do work with all people from all backgrounds, but we do focus specifically on the minority experience for what we discussed earlier. We provide workshops, trainings. We do business lending as well with our partners, and we have our own microloan fund. We have coaching, networking, technical assistance. If folks want to come in and learn how to set up an LLC, for example, through partnerships and through coaching, we help them through that process as well. We do not claim to be accountants or attorneys, but we can share what we know, and we have a wonderful referral network from partners who show up for us.
Wow.
So we don't do cold referrals. If you get a referral from Create Campaign, it's from a partner who's been vetted, who understands our experience is a little bit different in business ownership. So with that said, we want people to understand we provide access and capital. If all of that is too much, just think of us in terms of access and capital. Access to entrepreneurship education, opportunity, and access to business capital.
Wow. Okay? Wow, that's beautiful.
All right, thank you. So now with that said, we carry our work humbly because we recognize not everybody is going to fit the typical entrepreneurship profile, right? And we create a trusting and safe space. So when we have those conversations about handling business, we don't come about it arrogantly.
Right.
Like that really ticks me off, what we're seeing on TikTok and things of that nature on social media, where these so-called entrepreneurs who have scored millions now have an arrogance about them when trying to help others. You don't have to move that way.
Yeah.
It is a precious gift to be able to help move the anchor and the economic needle for diverse populations. How dare we exploit people and shame them?
Yeah.
We don't need to do that. And so for Create Campaign, we don't. So when we have to have those tough conversations, people know that we are communicating in love. We're communicating with a passion for their business. We can't build a business for them, but we can help.
Man, that's awesome. And how many businesses have you helped so far? Because now we're going on almost, 10 years?
Yes, next year it'll be the 10th year.
At one point, I think a few years ago, it was like over 400 businesses, but I know now that's probably like at least like, man, I can only imagine.
We've got hundreds of businesses that we've directly impacted and indirectly impacted as well. We're more than 1,000 entrepreneurs served, mostly African-American, Hispanic, Latinos, but again, we do serve all. And we've expanded beyond Wichita as well.
Really?
So we're in Wichita. Before COVID, we were really deep in Kansas City as well. We're right now in Topeka through collaborative partnerships in Omaha as well. And there's some other Kansas markets that we're in talk with to bring our services there.
Definitely. How does it feel to be like, to be able to help these businesses and to be able to even like go to the restaurant or the winery or, even just like the tech shop or just whoever it is? Like, I can only imagine like what that feels like.
Yeah, it is one of my life's greatest joys.
Yeah.
To be able to be in someone's dream. At one point, it was their dream. Now it's been manifested because they had the diligence, they had the grit, they got connected with resources to make it happen. It is a special place to be.
Man, I know it has to be. And I know you were friends with Melanie Miller, who I didn't realize her mom is, the one who started the Miller's Barbecue. And me and my mom and dad, we used to always go there, And I remember sometimes my mom would try sneaking like drinks. Like, you can't do this. We got to support Black business, Mom. But man, I loved Miller's Barbecue. It was always a good time. And, I didn't know if she was the like inspiration for you to want to start your own business. Like, was that one of the first people you knew?
There was a lot of business owners who we knew them for who they are in the community, but not necessarily their business. So yes, like you with Miller's Barbecue, we would go and eat barbecue.
Man, so
and
good.
Curtis Witten, who's with Ventec now, he had a bookstore on Woodline.
Right.
To go into his place was really special. But for me, the inspiration for just seeing Black in entrepreneurship, you look at the Jacksons from Jackson Mortuary, you look at, Bob Alford was really significant. He's passed on now, but Bob Alford of Alford Electric. When I decided I wanted to go into business, Mr. Alford and Curtis Witten were the first two outside of my family who I went and asked for a meeting. I asked because Mr. Alford was really, really a prominent Black businessman. Yeah. He and a partner, Norman Massey, they actually created the shopping center on 21st and Grove. So Mass Ford Plaza. Okay. Very well respected. Wow. So we ended up having like monthly lunches and they were amazing. And I really respect him taking the time to do that. Curtis, he just opened up his wealth of knowledge and his own experience going from a vending machine company to a security company. Yep. And one of the greatest pieces of advice that he told me is not what you know or who you know, but who knows you.
Exactly. A lot of people know Obama, but does Obama know you?
Exactly. And it makes a difference when people are knowing your efforts, knowing your ambitions, and then want to open up a door to help you. And then once you get through that door, it is what you know that keeps you in that door, but you have a responsibility to turn around and open that door for somebody else. And Curtis was just a blueprint for me. But I tell you, my mentorship experience from those pouring into me, it is very different. I have a whole roster of mentors.
And that was all intentional.
Very much so, because I believe that most people who want to make a positive difference have something to contribute. Yeah. And so I go into any exchange with an opportunity and mindset to learn. I'm a sponge. And if you have good things that I'm going to soak up, please believe there'll be a follow-up call so I can get more of that goodness.
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. So who were the people that you listened to help you start the Create campaign? Because I believe it used to be like an event, and then all of a sudden it just turned into like this whole company.
I wish it was all of a sudden, but no.
It wasn't all of a sudden?
It was some work. So I was connected with a group of business leaders with the Wichita Regional Chamber called the Entrepreneurship Task Force. And it was led by two men, Gary O'Borney, who's with Occidental Management, and Scott Schwendeman, who's a major philanthropist and also businessman in and of himself. Right. And so with lubrication engineers. And so basically every 2 weeks they would convene this group of business leaders to look at how can we activate, entrepreneurship in Wichita. We have a great history, but what's going on with it now? This was in 2015. And so they asked me to join the task force, and I was super intimidated because that room did not look anything like I look. And not just with outward appearance, but pockets as well.
Broke
coming to that table with all these advanced business people. Man. But the charge at that time was, how do we activate African Americans, Black folks in entrepreneurship? And I thought about my own experience. Right. 2013, like I told you, launching my t-shirt company. 2014, it expanding into CML Collective. 2015, here I am at this table. And Gary and Scott created a safe space for my voice to be heard.
That's awesome.
It's not enough to be at the table. You have to share your voice and lend your voice. So anyway, with that, I had 3 months and I decided, you know what? I'm going to create an event because I'm a connector. And so I know my experience with Kansas Small Business Development Center, SCORE, all of these support organizations. Let's bring Black entrepreneurs together to meet with these folks. Let's do workshops. Let's do panels so that when we get business cards, we're not intimidated because we know the face behind the business card. And vice versa. So these organizations that are set up and intended to serve all can really serve all because there's rapport and familiarity and connectivity. Yeah. So 2015 was when we held our first Create Campaign Forum. That was the name of it. And we thought we'd get 35 Black entrepreneurs out. We got 77. And then many of them continued to call me from there. And it's like, this was great. What's next? And there wasn't anything next. I wanted them to build the relationships with the partners, but I realized that something special was happening. 2016, we followed it up, got 124 Black entrepreneurs. And 2017 was when I said, you know, if this thing continues to move, if I die, I don't want it to die with me. So we need to structure. So that's when we actually filed for our IRS 501c3 tax exempt nonprofit status, and we officially organized. But the work did begin in 2015, organized in 2017.
Man, I know you have to be definitely proud of everything you've accomplished, like going on almost 10 years, you know, with this, but I know it has to be a lot of work. But I wanted to go back to season 1, right? You talking about 19th and Ash, right? I didn't know that you was over there at Northsider.
You did some good backgrounding.
Hey, always 19th and Ash, Northsider as well. You know what I mean?
He didn't even send me question lists to feed him these things. He went and found out. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. And so, like, you know, knowing the struggle of like just growing up on the north side of Wichita. And, you know, you using, you know, possible traumatic situations to be able to help you get to where you are now is definitely inspirational. So, like, there might be a young girl right now, 19th and Ash. She don't know a way out. Words of encouragement.
Words of encouragement. Ooh, that's heavy. Well, I would say, first of all, to that little girl, that young woman, take some time to understand you are uniquely gifted. And you're uniquely positioned, and nobody can tell you, unless you accept it, which you shouldn't, that nothing good comes out of this neighborhood. You are not only the hope of the neighborhood, you're the hope for yourself. And you got to plug in to people who mean you good, not harm. And you need to expand your network. You need to keep a sense of curiosity, but also a sense of confidence. And go figure out what kind of life you want to live. And then you put the pieces in place from conversations you have at school, from teachers, coaches, mentors. Yeah. You start creating a network that can help you reveal the path to the next step to the life you want to lead.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And so who was it that helped you during that time? You know, when you were there, I know you came from a good home with parents, you know, professionals as well. Yeah. Maybe it was them. Maybe it was mom. Maybe it was dad.
Yeah, my parents are the truth. I speak about them often, and I'm very fortunate that both of them are still living. They live right up the street from me.
Okay, that could be a good or a bad thing.
You know, it's a wonderful thing. Yeah, it's a wonderful thing for me. To have the support system in our home was incredible. My parents are, like I said, they really possess leadership skills. They love education. They give and have given so much, not only to me and my sisters, but anybody who comes across their path. I come from good stock, that they left a good legacy and continue to build on that legacy. But also, you know, I was raised in the church, and so Calvary Baptist Church and St. Mark United Methodist Church provided pretty good foundation. There was some
Pastor Gordon.
Yeah, I was there during Pastor Gordon days, Pastor Dotson. Yep. Now Pastor Holder with Calvary. I grew up under W.G. Williams way back at Calvary. So having that church experience was really, it put in us a sense of faith beyond belief.
Yes. And
again, put good people around us who were extensions of the positivity that my parents and grandparents instilled in us. But I mean, I also look at my schooling. I had some amazing advocates during my schooling. Vicki Churchman, she since passed away as well, from East High. She recognized my gift of writing. She created platforms for me to be able to be the editor of my high school paper.
That was before the Eagle.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, well, actually, that was high school. My relationship with the Eagle started when I was in 8th grade. And so I was able to just listen. I was Brooks Middle School at that time from Pleasant Valley. But at Brooks Middle School, 2 of the reporters came out to our 8th grade class and just did, a career day kind of presentation.
That's dope.
They extended an invitation to the newsroom. I took it up, and I was with the Eagle for many, many years. Then, like I said, editor of the East High paper. I had an opportunity to write in high school with the Community Voice. So Benita Gooch gave me a chance early on. So I had professional experience going into college. And that was a game changer for me as well. Mm-hmm. And so just all through my life, I have been, you say you want to go behind the scenes. I have been separated. I have been separated from and set apart. I've been separated from a lot of nonsense that unfortunately took a lot of my classmates on different paths. And we all have our own path. That nonsense at one point in my life looked real good. And so I got involved in some things that I shouldn't have. I almost lost my life.
High school?
Early college. I almost lost my life. Yep.
Before you went to college, almost lost your life.
I almost lost my life being around, the fast life and just trying to, get rid of, she's a nerd, all of that. She's a good girl, goody two shoes. I took a little detour, and the thing about that detour, what it did was it helped me to understand that one young man put it like this: it's a small world after all. Yeah. So I'm going to break it down. I was around gang activity. Okay. All right. And again, growing up,
north side.
That's these are people I go to church with. These are people I go to school with and things like that. So, just being in that environment, the stakes got a lot higher. And several of the guys who I was hanging around, because I braided hair and all these other kinds of things, the guys I was hanging around, some of them lost their lives. And on one particular night, I was hours away from a shooting that occurred that could have potentially really taken my life. And to wake up in the morning to hear on the police scanner, police at the house where I had dropped someone off just hours ago.
Oh my God.
That's real.
Yeah.
So I know that I have been purposed to do more than just that. And for those young women as well, who kind of want to get rid of the good girl persona and want to chase some things, be mindful that can be a life or death choice.
Man.
But I appreciate it so much, and I love those young men because they taught me, in the words of one of them, Christina, it's a small world after all. This is what we know, but you don't belong here.
Wow.
You get up and you go to the newspaper to go report. You got your career underway. Wow. You don't belong in this.
Wow.
And even in those situations, it was people seeing more for me than maybe I saw for myself at that time. Mm-hmm. And that was what it was. But I appreciate it because at the end of the day, from the block to the boardroom, I can be in any space and be all right.
That would be a good book title. From the block to the boardroom. I like that. And man, it's such a beautiful story, and I'm glad that you made it out.
Yeah.
And like you said, like when I speak with a lot of these young kids, gang activity or you name it, drugs, they don't know how to separate it, and maybe it's because they want to fit in with their, their peers or whatnot, or even music they listen to. But it's like, how did you separate it? Was that the time right there, like when that guy talked to you? Was that your time, like, hey, I'm going to separate this? Because
no, I'm still trying to hold on.
I appreciate the honesty.
Sometimes being a high achiever means that, again, you're ridiculed. So I was bullied all growing up, like completely bullied. And there became a sense of depression. Yeah. And so just trying to escape into places that, I didn't have to be the typical classroom Christina. I could just be around. That's all I was, just around. Just like, ooh, okay, Mm-hmm. And being accepted, in that space, even though they protected me as well.
For sure.
I didn't know it. But for me, it was really just trying to escape that profile that, you Miss Goody, you think this, you think you're better than, how black are you, just all of that stuff, right? And once I saw, because again, I'm a writer, I'm a storyteller, and I saw on the other side of 21st Street. So I was 19th and Ash. On the other side of 21st Street, there were some lessons that I needed to learn, even though it was dangerous for me to learn. And I'm going to tell you about the goodness of my parents. One time I stayed a little too late where I wasn't supposed to be. My daddy came and got me.
Hey, he showed up to the party?
He showed up.
He showed up.
They were like, hey, your dad is here. You need to go.
That's like what happened on ATL when what's his name came and got Lauren London. Like,
yeah, you got to get him out of here.
Hey,
and so again, I'm just I'm very thankful, even for those experiences. Those men, they provided me great understanding as I was dating just one of them. He ended up, we had a relationship. It didn't work out, but through that, I do appreciate everything that I learned from them, and I honor them. Some people are like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, no, you need to understand the person behind all of what you think you see.
Absolutely.
And so that's why I say, even now in my entrepreneurship journey, people will show up, to our headquarters, or they'll catch me in the store, and on paper, they don't look like anybody's entrepreneur. And most typical references, they would just skip over them. But I don't skip over people because people didn't skip over me. And because I know just how we present in a certain time period of our lives, that's not the end of the story. There's evolution there. So again, I try to treat all with what I've seen and what I know to be.
Wow, people didn't skip over you.
No.
So now you don't skip over anybody. Even if their business plan doesn't make too much sense.
Yeah.
You're still going to work with them, possibly.
I'll work with them. They got to demonstrate that they want to move forward because, again, I can't build it for you.
Man.
And that is a lesson that I've had to learn as well. When we first opened up the building that was donated to us, the Commerce Bank on 21st and Grove, that happened in 2018.
How did that happen? How did that?
Yeah, shout out to Councilmember Brandon Johnson.
Yeah.
And the president of Commerce Bank, Monty Cook.
Okay.
Monty knew that that particular branch of commerce was going to be leaving the neighborhood, and instead of another vacant building, he asked Councilmember Johnson what could possibly be redone with it. And so there were introductions made between myself and some other organization leaders with commerce, and by the end of the meeting, they had offered the building to create campaign.
Wow. How can Wichita be like Atlanta? Like, what do we need to do so then we can be able to be like Atlanta? Because when I go to Atlanta, I'm just like, man, like, there's so many people that look just like me who are doing their thing.
Yeah.
I
don't think we'll ever look like Atlanta.
Man.
We won't, just because of the population difference, right? And we have to be real about where we are in Wichita.
Absolutely.
And recognize that even though we're not Atlanta, there's still people. So I have what I call a people meter, and that is for partners who want to work with us. Like, you got to demonstrate something. You got to demonstrate a little thing. And then my little people meter, ding, 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 like, that's people. So even though you don't look like me, you might not be the same age, but you're people and you're down for what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And so we have built a network of partners who are people. And so in that regard, it doesn't look optically like Atlanta, but we are building solutions that are comparable to what's happening in Atlanta with business ownership. Again, we're moving the needle slowly, but when you look at our population, it's comparable. And so for that, I'm very proud. We got to recognize where we are. We're in Kansas. And we will never be majority, black folks will never be the majority population. Right. Diverse folks will. We're trending this way. We got to figure out how to work together.
Yeah, by 2030.
Yeah, it's already happening. We got to figure out how to work together, quit these divisions, between one another, and let's make it happen. Let's go.
About that topic right there about the division, I remember, I know you probably know Bryce Graham. He would have business meetings, and I wrote him probably 2 or 3 pages of how to make like a Black Wall Street. Like, I was just wrote some stuff out on paper, and he's like, yeah, this probably won't work because there's so many different divisions and lack of trust in our community. Like, from your perspective, do you feel like there is lack of trust in our community?
Yeah, absolutely. There is lack of trust. And just like I talked about my people meter, I have another list of people I don't work with and I don't fool with, because if we're about the business and if we're about the work of helping people uplift, then you cannot do bait and switches. You can't come in one way on people's dollars and words and then turn around and do something else. If you are a harm to our community, I have no patience for that. I used to try to entertain and try to work with and, massage relationships for those kind of folks on that end, and I no longer do that. It is a waste of time. Yeah. And
so people are trying to harm the community.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't need that.
harm the community, harm the people who do the work. I have no time, tolerance, or patience for that anymore. And so, yes, collaboration absolutely matters. You don't have to like everybody you work with, but there should be some shared understanding of how we get things done. We have to explore that. There will always be people who are never going to be for us or for the cause. I'm not even talking about them anymore. That's wasted time, effort, and energy, and that's maturity on my side. But for those who have a shared understanding, maybe even a lack of understanding of how to get there together, but are willing to sit down and figure it out, we have to do that.
Do you feel like, because you have a lot of different, sponsorships and partnerships, and like, this is something I definitely admire. And I'm curious to like, how did you build these relationships to get sponsorships and people to invest in you? Like, that's something that I'm not all the way sure on how to do, and would love to pick your brain about and maybe even consult with you about on things. But I am curious, like, how did you, like, for example, like, Chase Coke or, all these other Fidelity Bank, all these places you are working with, like, how did that happen? And is it easy?
Yeah. So how it happened, first of all, you have to understand who you are in the space and who you are as a leader and a person. Because again, when I talk about people meters and I don't mess with, you got to know your internal barometer.
Is it a vibe you just pick up with the people meter?
It's some vibe, but also more so, what are you doing, not just what you're saying. So when you're doing in a way that opens the door to opportunities to do more together, and when there's a mutual motivation, a mutual benefit for the same goal that we're trying to achieve, let's open the door and let's look in and explore what this looks like. Because I have been in the game for a long time, and also because of my journalism background, I'm not scared to go in different places in the community. Even though I was at the entrepreneurship task force, I was scared then, but no longer. Wichita is as big or small as you want to make it. And so really working on the social capital, the connections, and being mindful, like I had just made that point, we're not going to just build with all Black folks. That's a beautiful thing. But the reality is, in order to do more, you have to broaden your networks. And so I was able to build a really, really diverse roster of real good people and partners within these organizations. And we're still building, because what I shared, Create Campaign, in our work, we're a bridge. So because people see us as collaborators and not competitors, they're willing to go the distance with us. And so many of these partnerships, once they land, they stick and they hold, and we're able to do deep work together. And so it's not just people putting their logos or us having logos on people's stuff. It's those presidents and those other decision makers in these organizations are rolling up their sleeves with us to problem solve solutions that are designed for us. And that will last because they believe in what we're trying to achieve together. That's the key. You can't have ego about this. It has to really be, what is the biggest outcome? And what's the greatest outcome we can try to achieve together? And then how do we make sure it sticks and sustains?
Wow. So when are you going to run for mayor?
I'm not. Did you not just hear I was on the block?
I know. From the block to the boardroom to the to mayor. You know what I mean? That's awesome. And you said that word that stuck out to me, ego. So like, definitely, like, when it comes to like business and everything, like, what's your thoughts about ego nowadays? Obviously we got social media, we got all these things. How do you be able to separate, ego from different things, and then even just people you work with?
Yeah. So everybody has ego. I have ego.
Right. We all have ego.
But where ego is harmful is if it's if it's victimizing others, if it's self-inflating and shows up as a way to band-aid imposter syndrome. Like, that's not real. Let's be real. My ego is around, I want people to understand I do a lot of work, and my goal is to try to be excellent in everything that I do. So I tend to be a perfectionist, and if something is not right, it just drives me crazy.
That's
I'm working to try to, relax a little bit on that. That's where and how my ego shows up. But my ego has never been it's about me, and I got to be right.
Right, definitely.
And that's where I think people get in so much trouble. They always feel like they got to be right. They always got to feel like this won't happen if it weren't for me.
Yeah, when I see couples, I always ask them that question, do you want to be right or do you want to be married?
There we go.
And some people just want to be right.
Right.
Like, look at this text message. Remember when you said this? But it's like,
in the bigger scheme of things, what are we trying to achieve?
What are we trying to achieve? Because being right, wanting to be right all the time is, you can tell you're operating from that ego. Yeah. But it's okay to be wrong.
It is. And you know what?
It sounds bad. It's like, what? It's okay to be wrong?
Right?
What?
When I first got at the Entrepreneurship Task Force table in 2015, they kept throwing around, oh, it's okay to fail. It's okay to fail. And I would cringe each time because I'm like, there is such privilege in the ability to fail.
Right.
For our communities trying to get into entrepreneurship, man, it's a zero-sum game, right?
Right.
We don't have time, space, or opportunity to fail. But what they were trying to communicate is that there is learning in failure. So fail fast, fail often, rebound, and move forward.
Okay.
And so I get it now being in the entrepreneurship game a little bit longer, but that's still tough to hear.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. There are lessons that we will learn being wrong that will never come if we're always right.
Man, so powerful stuff there. And speaking of failure, like failure, is, I heard something that said you're not ready for success if you're not ready to fail.
Yeah. That's so true.
And that scares me, like even for me, I've been doing my business now, started right during COVID. I wish I would have connected with you then because I was struggling in the beginning, but I kind of just, figured out a way how to make it happen right during the pandemic. So going on 4 years, but eventually I would love to be able to hire another therapist. But that word, the failure, like what if I hire the wrong person?
Yes.
I don't really know how they do therapy. I'm not going to be in the office with them. Like, what if they mess up? So it's like, man, I built, all this. So definitely a perfectionist as well. But how do you get over failure? Maybe you might be able to help me with, because I know there's probably been some times when things maybe failed and you bounced right back up. Like, what motivates you to keep going when you fail?
The bigger picture. And the idea that, or not the idea, but the reality that I am more than just my work.
Yeah.
And so also reducing ego. You're not always going to be right. But the feeling of failure is very, very hard for me.
Oh, man.
It just kind of encompasses me, and I kind of go really, really deep inside myself, and I kind of have this whole spiral thing. My family has seen it. Some of my employees, they see it as well.
It's tough.
But it's not a problem going there, it's staying there. And so if we're spiraling and we continue to stay in the vacuum of the spiral, then we're doing a disservice.
Yeah.
But it is okay to express our humanity like, man, I'm disappointed. This did not work out well. But I've learned to put a time frame on it, put it in the greater perspective, and really try to move out of that more quickly, because that is the totality of life. That's the totality of the work experience. That's the totality of partnerships we're going to have, and relationships.
Yeah, for sure.
We're going to have wonderful times and we're going to have some hard times. But the totality of it is we're going to be in it together because we recognize it's the fullness of the relationship, the fullness of the experience, not just these individual separate moments.
Oh, man, that's powerful. So powerful. And so I feel like if you're not so focused on the individuality, maybe you can it's easier to be able to see that bigger picture, to zoom out, to see how everything is all the way fully connected.
Yeah.
And wow, so it sounds like to me, like when you talked about the totality, just realizing you put structure behind failure, you give it a time limit. So it's like, hey, I'm not going to move in here, but I'm going to check in for a little bit, stay for the weekend, figure it out, and then I'm getting back on the road. Right. Because I heard something else too. It said, only way that a motorcycle is able to stay upright is because of speed. Yeah. I mean, and I heard that on a podcast. I forgot what the guy's name, but I was like, that's big. So sometimes we feel like we should stop, right. But sometimes you gotta, you got to keep going, put that speed on it.
And that's where the learning happens. So in failure, you can feel it. You can be emotionally drained by it and taken out. But are you going to just let the failure be just the emotion of it? Right. Or are you going to take a moment, assess, keep, tweak, toss, and move forward? And remember for the next time it presents itself, because you overcame it.
Yeah.
So what's the point of going through it if you're not going to overcome it?
Uh-oh. You got to walk through hell to get out.
There you go.
Some people trying to walk around it. You know, you got to go right through it. What are some of those success stories for some of these? I know you have to have, well, you said over 1,000 entrepreneurs. I know there has to be some success stories I would love to hear, or even like somebody who they thought they weren't going to be able to do it and they went through, right? Like without, I mean, you can say names if you feel like it,
but a couple of them out. And this is the danger, because I do work with so many people.
Yeah, you don't have to shout out the names you don't want to.
There's a couple of folks though who sometimes you do have to put a name on it so people can understand it's real. Right. So I'm gonna say these examples, understanding that again, it's a privilege to serve anybody who we have the opportunity to interact with, and I truly and wholeheartedly mean that. And that's the culture of Create Campaign. But right now, we are preparing to open up a kitchen incubator. Really? We've been in a pilot for several months, been working on this project for more than a year.
I heard kitchen. I'm already getting hungry.
Yeah. So there are 2 entrepreneurs who have been participating in our pilot who are the first a la carte commercial kitchen incubator brands. Okay. And they are Zoe Stone of Charcuterie. Okay. And then Cheryansky Gray of Traces of Flavor. Both of them have incredible talent cooking, but they also have shown incredible grit and perseverance to put a business around it. So both of them went through our Spark Community Business Academy. It's a 12-week business academy where people work on their business, not just in their business. And both of them have shared that they have doubled, almost tripled their revenue from being in Spark to now. They are now fully licensed through our commercial kitchen. And their business brands are actually getting not just individual clients, but they're also being successful getting corporate clients, just working through resources that we've been able to provide in a streamlined and efficient manner. They give me such inspiration because having a food business in Wichita, you can get lost because there's a lot of different options to choose from. But these 2 are representing what it means to create a food brand from the ground up, no corporate backing, but from the ground up, and to go and serve corporations. That's inspiring.
Like catering and all the kinds of stuff. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yep. Wow. So we've got those 2. Super proud of. We've also got an OG for Create Campaign who was there from like the very beginning, and that's Mark Daniels and Grace Daniels with the Wichita Cheesecake Company. We saw them before Wichita Cheesecake Company even existed as a brand.
Not the factory either, the company.
No, the company.
We don't need the factory.
No, we don't need the factory. We got the company.
I love it.
And so to see them from having little cheesecake samples on a table where we had an event, they were giving out samples to folks and everyone was like, this is the thing. Yeah. To them being downtown and staying downtown. Because
they're still there.
Yeah, they're still there. Wow. So those are examples of food entrepreneurs, but then we have service-based entrepreneurs like Elite Electric. This is a veteran-owned company, and they already came to Create Campaign pretty well established, but now they've been able to work on increasing their revenue, hiring more, and then also becoming a certified company in the state. And so there's a variety of just stories after stories from sectors after sectors. And even if it is someone who has carried a business idea, who we're able to help them launch and structure an LLC, that's amazing.
It's so amazing. Awesome.
So I get so inspired by the people who we get the privilege of serving, and as much as they say they're inspired by us.
Wow. So there's so many people that you've helped, so many people, so many inspiring stories. I wanted to ask you too, because I get a little confused. So is Spark, Create, those are the same thing?
Yes.
Or like, if you could explain that exactly, because I forgot about Spark.
Yeah. So Create Campaign, like I shared before, has a number of different service capabilities. So workshops and trainings. Everything that we do is anchored on entrepreneurship education. So Spark is a community business academy where we're able to use nationally recognized curriculum to present a 12-week business academy that covers everything from business idea to pricing, competition, value, because price and value are different.
Price and value are different.
Yeah, accounting, legal structuring, intellectual property, patent. I mean, it's the whole gamut. When business owners are selected and accepted into Spark, because it is a competitive application process, they are committing to more than 60 hours of working on their business inside of that 12-week business academy. And the 12-week business academy is followed up by a coaching stretch.
Okay.
And then just really cool opportunities as well. And so this past June, we graduated our 6th and 7th cohort for Spark. We introduced a Spanish-speaking cohort as well in Wichita. So now we have more than 109 graduates of the Spark Community Business Academy. In our fall cohorts, we just finished selection recently. And so those will kick off as well. We offer Spark so well. Our graduation rate is 92%, and the national expectation is a 70% graduation rate. We're a leading site for the nation for those communities that have been allowed and approved to offer the Community Business Academy curriculum. And I will say, because we've done so well with our curriculum partner, who is Rising Tide Capital out of New Jersey, that Create Campaign is the sole license holder for the state of Kansas. So any city inside the state of Kansas that wants to do a community business academy, they'll need to partner with us in order to get access to that curriculum, because it's quality control as well.
Look at that. Was that all intentional?
You know, we just try to do our best.
Yeah.
And that excellence piece that I talked about. And we're performing excellently. So.
Definitely. Now you have kids, right?
I do.
How old are your kids?
I talk about excellent performance.
Yeah.
So my babies.
Yeah.
The oldest is 20.
20.
Amara. She just announced on social, so I'll announce it here, that she has completed all requirements to be an actual licensed realtor, not just a real estate agent, but a realtor in the state of Kansas.
Okay.
My middle child is Malcolm. He is 19.
Okay.
Malcolm is, both of them attend Wichita State University.
Yeah.
Malcolm is working as well as doing his college thing, and he's doing great work.
Yeah.
And then my youngest,
he used to work at Trader Joe's?
He used to work at Trader Joe's.
I remember I always saying he was a really nice guy.
Yeah.
I remember I would always talk to him, check out.
Yeah.
I did not know that's your son. That's cool.
That's my baby. And then our youngest is Jordan.
Jordan.
My youngest daughter, she is 14. She just had a birthday. So
14.
I know she'll be like, don't you misstate my age.
Uh-oh.
Anyway, she's 14, getting ready to go to high school.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So, and you've been married now for how long?
14 years.
14 years. Mm-hmm. Wow. You know, nowadays, right, with the internet and everybody, you know, has a podcast and everybody can put a camera and a mic. But, you know, with you being married for 14 years, you know, I think marriage is so important for communities. But I have seen the trend. You know, people are very fearful of marriage nowadays for a lot of different reasons. But like from your experience, like what keeps like, you know, a marriage together? Like what keeps it, what makes it strong?
Yeah.
14 years is a long time.
It is a long time. And we dated a while before we decided to get married. This is my first marriage as well. Yeah. Even though I have older children, this one was the first marriage for us, because common law, you know, we lived together and all those things.
It was like 10 years, right?
It's been a while. I met Jonathan Long in 2008.
Wow.
So
2008.
Yeah. But we decided that we wanted to make our commitment like for a lifetime.
I love it.
Again, both of us are raised in households where marriage is beautiful, but marriage is tough.
Right.
And so we saw the realities of what marriage, you know, is. We work through our own challenges, but we're at a great space in our marriage. Beautiful. We've hit a really good understanding and stride in that we're doing life together. And that means when I talk about the fullness, the totality of the experience, there are some days I drive my husband crazy. I drive him crazy, and I know it. And I know I do. I love you, baby. Yeah. And he drives me insane. Okay?
Okay. Honesty.
But understanding that, again, just because we don't see eye to eye on every single, topic in our world, that doesn't mean that we're not in love with each other. That doesn't mean that we're not pulling for one another. We're growing older together as well. So, you know, I was real cute when we first met.
You still look young.
Thank you. But it's got to be more than just what you see optically. You got to really love, not the potential of the person. You got to love that person, how they show up right now.
Right.
And you have a shared understanding of you want to get better and grow together. But what you see truly is what you get. Can you live with that for your life?
Ooh.
not having to be right, and that was hard for me. Woo.
That was hard. That was,
Right.
it was harder
that
for
was
you
hard.
rather than
That was
John.
hard for me. No, Jonathan's evolved. He could care less. He wants to get to the right solution in the right situation, and being as intentional with communication as possible, which means you can't talk past one another. You really have to talk with one another. And Jay and I, we actually have different communication styles. Again, I'm more of a creative, so I talk kind of like this in the abstract.
Okay.
I see the context in the grays. He's black and white.
Ooh,
very linear.
Man.
And so when we're missing each other in conversations, oh, wait a minute. We've learned to be like, wait. We're doing this Christina J communication thing. Let's slow down. Let's be intentional. How do you need to hear it? How say it a different way? Those type of strategies really helped us to improve our communication.
That's awesome. I would say I'm kind of like you, like yourself. Like I'm kind of like over here, and my partner, she's kind of more black and white.
Yeah.
A little bit, you know. But
some grays in there. Come on.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm like, hey, life is about color.
Yeah,
you know.
there you go.
So, you know, everything's not black and white,
Right.
you know. But, you know, sometimes it may feel like it, but there is something in between. It's something very colorful and beautiful and whatnot, you know. So, you know, how do you find, you know, balance? Because that's one of my fears. If I were to take on another business, even like doing this podcast, like my partner's even like, man, you've been spending a lot of time doing this, doing that. So, like, I guess for me, it's just like, man, if I do too much, am I going to still be able to connect with, you know, the people I care and love about and the things I want to do? But like, I am curious from you, like, how do you find like balance? What does that look like? Some people don't really believe in balance, but I know it has to be difficult. And how do you stay afloat?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I didn't always get balance correct. My kids would kind of tell, hey, you've been on go time too long now. We need to see you. Go time is when I dive into the work, like no calls, no nothing. It's go time.
Do not disturb.
Exactly. And when go time lasted 3 weeks, they were like, that's enough.
Oh.
You know, and that's where the work became the focus, and I was not on my balance. It also impacted health. And so you had to pull back. But it's prioritization of time. It's using your tools like your calendar and all those things, and it's protecting and being disciplined about time. I will say people don't really see me too much on the scene because I don't have a lot of time to hang out. And when I choose to hang out, it's really with my husband and my family, because Jonathan, for many know, but some don't, he accepted a job in Tulsa. And so so it's been 3 years now where he has we have a household in Tulsa, we have a household here, going back and forth on the weekends or during special occasions, him coming here. So I become even more protective of the time that we have together.
Absolutely.
All that to say, when you are with someone who's aligned, then they know what you're trying to achieve, you know what you're trying to achieve, and there does become a more healthy balance. Where it gets off is if you're in competition with your partner, or if your partner's in competition with you. But if you're pulling for one another, then you make those time trade-offs and you make it work.
Wow. So it's kind of like, so he'll be in Tulsa, you guys might hang out at the Tulsa residence, then come to the Wichita residence. So, you know, time is so precious, you know, so you have the business, you have the family, partner. So like you really, I know that Google Calendar is
it's wild, but
I know
it's wild, but I've learned when I first started having to schedule things 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out,
man,
it felt like, ooh, those things, who is she? Well, I gotta wait 3 weeks. I'm really doing all that. And I had to get over what people thought about my schedule, because they were not living my schedule. They're not working 14 to 18 hour days like I was, you know, and during some stretches during go time, I'm still good to pull a good 24 hours, and I do that. They just don't last 3 weeks anymore.
Yeah, they're not like us.
Right. But I've also had to be okay with not being everywhere. And that rubbed people the wrong way, because I am, from what people share, I am more successful, so I need to share all of myself and all of my time to help other people be successful and to help the community succeed. And we all play a role in the community. But I had to learn to be okay with not right now, and no, I can't, but here's somebody who can. Yeah. And be okay with people being upset.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Like if somebody wants, like, you know, a black therapist talk, I called my friend, and you know him, like Terry. Come on and talk at that event, because I don't have the time. And I know your schedule's a little bit more, you know, freer than mine right now. And so the word that comes to my mind when I hear you talking about this topic is boundaries.
Yeah, it's boundaries.
Being able to tell people no, and was it always easy for you to tell people no?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. I felt so bad. I felt like I was
Yeah.
disappointed. So before I even got to the place of telling people, I can't do this.
Right.
But here's somebody who can. Before I even arrived at that grand understanding, it was, I'm going to try to make this work. And I literally was running around crazy.
Yeah. Then you started to delegate.
Yeah. And being able to be comfortable with someone else stepping into places for me. Because, again, I carry this as a privilege and I work hard with it.
Yeah.
And there are people who were showing up in my circles or in my spaces who just wanted to be close to me for the opportunities. They didn't care how to handle those opportunities. So circle shrunk. And then you get accused, you're cliquish.
Okay.
You're cliquish. You're standoffish. That's what I talked about before, even as a child. We have always been set apart.
Yeah.
Talked about, ridiculed, all those things.
It's nothing new, yeah.
It's nothing new. Now I know. God
People
was just
take it
revealing.
personal, huh?
They do.
They take it personal.
They do. But for those who understand what I'm trying to do and who understand and see me, not all that I've accomplished, but truly see me, they get it. And I've had to be okay with, again, the Kansas Leadership Center says leadership sometimes is about disappointing people at a rate that they can tolerate.
Yeah.
So I've had to be okay. I have an admin. Well, actually, I have two. I have two admins now.
Right. Cassandra and
yeah, Cassandra's our
Maria,
chief of staff.
is her name?
Karina,
yeah, that was close.
Yeah, but even sending people through Cassandra, Karina to manage my schedule or make requests, that didn't feel good at first. But now I better not try to do it because I'm a triple book myself.
Yeah.
And it took me doing that a couple of times and really disappointing people because I committed to being there.
And then you had something else.
Yeah, 3 things. And this happened multiple times. I said, you know what? I got to have hands off my calendar. Which sounds crazy, hands off my calendar.
How do you do that? Like, because, it sounds like we're both kind of perfectionists. And for me, like, sometimes I can really micromanage. I want to be able to edit the podcast. I don't want to have somebody else to do it. Like, how did you, finally just let go of the calendar or just other stuff and give it to somebody else to having that trust that they can handle it correctly?
Yeah. I really had to look at, again, if I'm going to remove my ego, I'm not great at everything. And when I was dropping balls that I could bounce and slam dunk, that means I was just doing too much. And just like I said, when I was doing the Work or Create campaign and it wasn't structured, if something happened to me, all this would go away and I didn't want to. So I put a structure around it. Now, what the goal is if you really want to build something to sustain, you cannot do it by yourself.
Right.
You have to have people who can help you. And so finding the right people, and we have a process. Find the right people who demonstrate capability to handle the things that you need them to. You train them, and then you hold them to the expectation that, yes, you may mess up every now and again, but messing up shouldn't be the way. Let's figure out how to have more success than failure in that regard, and let's learn from the failure. I've been able to build a really great team, and then also tap into my resources. So Paris Lipsy Coley of Lipsy Consulting Services, she has been a godsend as it relates to HR. And so she helps with human resources and helps to vet candidates and things like that. So by the time people get on the team and I'm able to weigh in the competition, like, we have a really, really strong team that is continuing to build in strength.
How many employees?
Yeah, so Create Campaign, we're a team now of 7. We have 5 employees.
5 employees there, Create Campaign. And then at CML, is that just you and
CML's 2.
Just 2.
So we work with a lot of contractors as well to help expand our capacity. But to be able to provide on the Create Campaign side meaningful jobs, that parking lot is now just not my car. There's cars in that parking lot. And then also on CML to be able to do this for myself and also Cassandra, she's an employee of CML.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
To provide good wages, a good work environment like that, that's amazing to me.
And that's super amazing. Like right now I just have one person kind of remotely doing billing, which I'm really thankful for, because it is hard trying to do everything on your own. You can't do it. But what I've realized too, like even when I try to like invite people to like an event like the Gathering or anything, I've realized like there's, like you talked about earlier, there's divisions, in the community, which I don't really like, but it's just, people for example, when friends like, oh, you going to that bougie thing.
Yeah.
Them bougie black folks, Chris. And so then I just feel like, how can we, is there a way that possibly we can be able to end that kind of like, maybe we won't be able to, but like, I just kind of curious about your thoughts, because I know people probably try to say that to you or some of the old friends you had to, kick out of your circle. But I get that a lot, if I'm trying to go to something, or even like somebody, like when you were younger, people were like, oh, you smarter than us, you got these all A's and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like, how do you deal with that?
Again, it's been the story of my life. So while one set of people were like, oh, y'all think you're better than growing up because we were on honor roll, then because of my family's financial situation, we were lower middle class, people would keep us out of the bougie, quote unquote bougie stuff.
Right.
And so I grew up with the whole like, don't make me bougie. I'm not bougie. Like, don't even come. When I met Jonathan, he's bougie. I'll say it now. He came from a different situation, and growing up in a different state. So he grew up in Chattanooga, close to Atlanta. So Atlanta came up earlier. So so he spent a lot of time in Atlanta growing up. And it's just a different perspective.
Way different.
So when he moved here and we met, like, he asked about the kids and what school they were going to, and he talked about private school, and I was like, don't you ever. Like, no, we're not ever doing that. Okay. All these things, right? Well, now our youngest happens to be, we're public school, supporters. But when you look at your child and your child is not being fed academically and is dealing with too much socially that you can't fend off or protect, and it changes the composition of your child, you got to look at different options. So we ended up looking at independent because Terrell Davis was over there. He's no longer there this school year, but was over there. And he was really creating a spirit of excellence among diverse students. So we went over there and we were like, oh, this is diverse. We know it's real. And we knew a lot of parents as well. And so we enrolled Jordan in independent, and it was one of the best things that we were able to do for our child. What this whole experience has shown me, though, and has reiterated, when you have economic mobility, when you have economic options, your ability to build the life and to make choices and to pivot becomes just a little bit easier because you have the finances that can help support those decisions. Growing up, I would have never thought in my lifetime I would have been able to make that pivot for my child because I thought it was unreachable and I thought the culture wasn't accepting. You got to open your mind.
Man, sometimes, once again, it's that kind of that crab in the barrel kind of thing. So you really have to be careful who is in your circle. I always, look at it like almost like, your life is like, like a VIP section. Like, and if it's your birthday, like you get to determine who comes in there. Why open the road to let everybody in who may not be supporting your vision?
And who could be very harmful. And that's the piece. Because, again, some people will show up not as gifts in your life. They come as a result of challenge in your life. But even they can bring good lessons. But for those people who mean you nothing but harm, they don't get in the building. Definitely. But that rope, we have to be mindful even. About that rope. And we also need to understand that if we're going to truly get on a better path of success and opportunity for our people, we have to provide space for one another. That means that things like the gathering. So Jonathan and I were part of the very, very early pieces of the gathering. And then, like I said, he moved to Tulsa, so we had to make some decisions. So we don't participate in the leadership of the gathering. But like the gathering is intended to be a great way for Black professionals to connect. But being mindful that in that regard, it could be seen as just a group for prestigious folks. And that's not how this leadership group wants to be seen. They want to be able to create a connecting point for people in all kinds of careers. And there's space restrictions in the areas that, a venue can't hold 50,000 people. So let's be mindful about those pieces. But on the flip side, for people who may not be on the radar for the gathering, what can we do to bring those radars together? And I think therein lies the opportunity. Therein lies the opportunity.
Vineyard almost. Like,
absolutely.
Connecting,
and there is value in all of our experiences. Again, the neighborhoods that we are working from that may be considered undeserving or overlooked and underserved, there's a value in the people who come and represent and the people who live in those communities.
Absolutely.
How dare anyone decide, oh, they're not worthy? No, we're not
Definitely
doing
not.
that.
And I think it's from, like, even when you mentioned earlier when you were at that table with the people and you said you were broke and you didn't have money at the time. So when internally when things are going on, you don't really want to be in the environments where people are kind of doing their thing, you know? So
that was uncomfortable.
Right.
I was like, I read about you in the business journal.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, and you're right here. Oh, you asked me something? Repeat what you said. But
and then now people might feel like that with you now.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, and I'm sure you're very calm, seem like very posed, lovely woman. So I'm pretty sure you make them feel comfortable, and then they see somebody that looks like them. Yeah. Because like I always say, you can't really be something until you see it, right?
Yeah,
we have to be able to
harder.
see it before we can become it. So, and another thing too, I really appreciate what you're doing is like you're really out here making things happen. Like there are people, I feel like sometimes who are just talking, and that's cool, bringing awareness to it. But like you're really kind of getting to it. Like let's create, let's produce, let's become producers and not just consumers. Let's build. You know what I mean? So like I think that's super, super dope.
Thank you. There is a difference in Wichita. People say things go to committee and they get talked to death.
Oh my
but
God.
It's how we behave. All the talk, if it doesn't lead to action, then what are we doing? I don't believe in filling
We're just
space
connecting.
with empty
We're
words.
just connecting and just talking.
Yeah, no, we got to make some things happen.
Do you want Wichita to be like a Black Wall Street or something? Or what's your thoughts about Black Wall Street?
Yeah.
Stuff like that, and places like Harlem back in the day and other black cities.
Yeah, I think first of all, those experiences are so special and they were so necessary. They are still so necessary as well. With Jonathan in Tulsa, I've gained even greater respect for Black Wall Street, more than just what occurred with the massacre, because that's what it was, but the people who built before and the people who are working to build back. I keep a series of these little charm bracelets on my arm, and their references. So Black Wall Street is one of them. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's
and it
beautiful.
It keeps me in the mindset that even on the hard days when I just want to pack it all up, I just want to be done. And I do have those days. Yeah. There's a constant reminder, again, that is not just me in a bad day. It's about the greater good.
Wow.
And so those examples that we have, we need to honor them. We need to understand them. But we also need to build in a way that's representative of where we are right now.
Right.
And Black and brown communities need to have economic centers. They need to have business districts, not just because it's great to support local and to support one another, but because of the implications that it makes for the next generation and the generation thereafter. If we are out of the economic picture through erasure, through discrimination or whatever, then we are not doing what we need to do to set up the next generations. When people ask us, what are you here for? What are you purposed to do? Part of us being purpose is the individual mission and an individual purpose, but collectively, there should be some evidence that we were here.
Yeah, for sure.
We have to be able to live beyond check to check, to live beyond this net zero median income that's supposed to happen with Black, households in the next few years. Like, that's crazy. Think about how hard we work. What assets do we have to show for it? And I'm talking about myself too, because I just did my taxes.
Yeah.
I just filled out my kids' FAFSAs.
Yeah.
Whoa. There's still work to do. We have to be able to play not just in health, not just in education, because we'll go and get some education, right? We have to be able to play in the financial centers so that our communities and our generations can have a leg stronger to stand on than what we were given.
Man, that's so important, because have you ever read the Dr. Claude Anderson, the Power Economics?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts about that? Because, group economics, I think, is so important, and we need to build that economic, center for Black folks in the city, because, I always feel like you don't really have much power or much say if you don't really have that economic, punch.
Someone told me, I'll answer this way. Someone told me back when I was first, I call it my downtown Wichita life. When I was first on downtown Wichita scene.
That's where you used to live down there?
No, when I was with the entrepreneurship task force.
Oh, okay.
So I call that my downtown Wichita life.
Downtown Wichita life.
when I was first entering that, you know, I go into rooms and I count how many Black folks were there.
Yeah.
And it would always be like the same 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Someone told me during that time that, Christina, we love the leaders in your community, but if we're going to be honest, and this is going to be hard to hear, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to be honest, they can't rub 2 nickels together.
Whoa.
I was taken aback.
This
Because
is a
that was
white person that
sobering.
said this.
Mhm. That was very sobering to me.
Oh, man.
And they weren't saying it to be mean. They weren't saying it, you know, out of a racial bias. They were saying it purely from an economic standpoint.
Wow.
And what that told me is even our best representation, if we don't have the economic power behind it, then we're still just in the room. Now, some people will watch this and they'll say, there is more to us than money. You're
Absolutely.
so money driven. And no.
Right.
Hear me and understand. In fact, my husband says, Christina, you hate money. I don't hate money.
He said,
I don't hate money. Yes, because, you know, I'm a value pricer.
We got to pay off those student loans.
You know? But
Yeah.
I recognized then and in some other moments as well, but particularly then, that if we're ever going to show up in ways economically
Yeah.
that can help move the needle, we've got to be seen as more than just good people in the room.
Absolutely.
There's got to be some economic power behind us.
Right.
And so, yes.
Man, I really agree with that 100% because, you know, even when it comes to like politics, which I'm not really too keen on or whatnot, but like even like when Biden, I remember when he said, well, if you don't vote for me, you're not Black. But I know he couldn't say, if you don't vote for me, you're not Jewish. Like, because Jewish folks, they, you know, have so much, you know, money in the country. But like, you can say that to us and we'll still vote for you because we don't really have any economic power, you know?
The economic power that we have is dispersed. It gets tracked when it comes to entertainment sales and things of that nature. Our philanthropy, because we have money in our communities, we just distribute them outside of maybe normal channels. So like where some people set up funds at like the community foundation, which is now the Wichita Foundation. You do an audit to see how many of those funds were created by Black families. There's something to be said there. But we'll give to churches. We will give to youth groups. We'll give to our, you know, sororities, fraternities. I'm unaffiliated, but our money goes in good places. And we do good things with the money that we do have. But if we're going to have an economy of scale, we have to also participate in the channels that are deemed viable by this country in order to show up. So our banking presence, for example, how many of us who are business owners have personal checking accounts, but also business checking accounts? And how are these accounts cash flowing? Because it's one thing to say, oh, yes, I'm a customer of the bank. It's another to say, look at my accounts. I have a say at this financial institution. I have a say.
I have a say. Wow, definitely, man. I really appreciate you coming on the show, Christina. It's so great to finally get to meet you in person. Everybody who I meet, they're like, you got to talk to Christina. You got to talk to Christina. So it came to a point, I was like, all right, I got to talk to Christina. And I just wish, like, in the earlier days of starting my business, I was able to connect with you. But, man, I have so many questions, like more questions. I'm a sponge as well. Love to absorb information and, you know, just gather the knowledge, you know, from you. You're very well-spoken and, you know, I could see, man, I just could see like a big vision for you. Like, cause right now it's already like you didn't imagine this, I'm gonna assume. But yeah, like I don't, you know, before we go, like I don't know what would be like the main vision for you. Like, how do you see it? Like maybe 5-10 years down the road? Like, I don't know what that looks like.
5-10 years down the road, the vision that we live up to and Create Campaign is manifested. We are literally the hub of inclusive entrepreneurship and opportunity for diverse entrepreneurs across the Midwest. I don't want to be national. That'll take another leader. There's something to be said about being able to build in the Midwest. And so that will be manifested, as well as the next level of leadership in Create Campaign. It means passing the baton. And that person takes the organization to the next level. And I'll still be alive to be able to see that, because that is sustainability. I want to see not just one, Black business district. I want to see a whole lot of us around this entire city doing business with one another in our other markets as well. And not just Black folks. I want the same opportunities for anyone who deems themselves a Create campaigner.
Absolutely.
And
That's
then
big.
lastly, I want to be able to have visible evidence and presence across many different decision-making tables in the markets that we're in, so that people can see we're not just here, we're present, we're engaged, we have that voice.
We have a voice. Wow, that's powerful. We're going to speak that into existence. So when all that happens, we'll watch this episode and we'll see it all come and manifest. That's so beautiful, so powerful. One last thing, if somebody's watching and they want to be able to join the Create campaign or the Spark, what do they need to do? Like, how old do they have to be? You know, I work with a lot of youth. Like, what if there's like a younger person? I'm not sure if there's an age limit. Or, you know,
thanks for asking that. So 18 and over is who we work with. We did that intentionally because there's a number of really great youth service organizations such as Destination Innovation. They provide strong, really good service to young people. So we're not going to compete. We're going to refer, and we partner and collaborate together. So for those 18 or who are under 18, Destination Innovation with Marquita Atkins and her team, 18 and older, Create campaign. English speaking, Spanish speaking. We have all of our services available in English and Spanish. Connect with us through our website, createcampaignks.com. You'll be able to schedule a business consultation. You might hit up Cassandra, Karina, get you scheduled, and have access to our services. Most of our services are low cost, no cost. We really do try to provide barrier-free opportunities for folks.
I was curious about that too. Low cost, no cost. You guys heard it right here on the Fully Connected podcast. Christina Long, right here in the flesh. Thank you for joining in on the show.
Thank you.
We will see you guys next time. Like, share, subscribe, and also stay well, stay healthy. Peace.